So if you checked out my community tab, I put a poll up there asking about young women who date older men. And what made me decide to talk about it to begin with is because the other day I was watching a few videos from this TikToker. Her name is Dana. And I love all of her content. And my TikTok account that I have now, that's the second TikTok account that I have. My first TikTok account was removed. And when I first got on TikTok, I started posting Dana's content on my YouTube channel. So if you go back, look months from now, I was posting Dana's content, and now Dana is really popular on TikTok, right? I love a lot of the stuff that she says, and she kind of gets the same amount of slack I do inside of my comment section from men, right? And when I made a video about younger women dating older men, it's not unusual for me to make that kind of content, because I talk about hypergamy hussies all the time. I always talk about how women should secure their own bag and make sure that they have their ducks in a row, and that self-care is a part of femininity, and a part of self-care is making sure that they have their finances in order. And so I try to tell women all of the time, instead of going after a man because of what he can pay for, go after what his character is like, because he can still have a shit ton of money but be an asshole towards you, or be pretty decent towards you but turn around and sleep with a whole bunch of women. I also talked about the difference in ratio, where you have so many working class men. Let's say 90% of the men inside of the United States are working class men who make under $100,000 a year. And then you have that 10% of men who are almost millionaires, and women who are broke, who don't have any money themselves, go after these 10% of men. And you got men out here who aren't the best to begin with. They kind of have dubious characters to begin with. They want to teach women that they should go after men who want to pay for everything. When I hear that narrative coming from a man, I always know that it's coming from a man who wants to manipulate and control a woman by using money, because they know that once they use their money, women will put up with anything, and they don't really have to put forth any type of real energy to actually be something. Like, have a decent character, be pretty good to her, not lie, be just an upstanding man, not be rude, not, talk so disrespectfully towards they woman. A lot of men who are financially stable are very disrespectful towards women inside of the Black community, because a lot of the men who are inside of the Black community who are affluent, a lot of them are inside of the entertainment industry, and the entertainment industry is not an industry that you want to play with. Like, you see a lot of women who want to date athletes and rappers and stuff, and I'm telling you, that's not where it's at. I'm trying to let females know this, because when I was modeling, I modeled for 6 years, so all I got to be around was celebrities and athletes. That's it. I was around rappers, singers, ball players. That's all my social circle was. Promoters, managers, directors, all just entertainment industry professionals is all I hung around. So I got to see a lot of how these people dealt with their personal lives, and just dating men inside of that industry was terrible. So I vowed early on that I was going to discontinue dating men inside of the entertainment industry. And I never took any of them serious any time they tried to holler. And, getting me to be interested in a guy in general right now is pretty hard. Men reach out to me all the time trying to holler, whether they got money or not. I'm telling all of them no. And a lot of them are feeling some type of way about being rejected, especially men who use their money as a way to try to prove that they are something. So when I reject guys and they have money and they're like, oh, I wish I would have spoiled. I mean, I'm glad I didn't spoil you. Some guy said that shit to me earlier today. I'm glad, yesterday, I think. I'm glad I didn't spoil you. And I was thinking to myself, I rejected you. I said no to you. And now you're trying to prove to me that you have options. I'm I'm telling you by saying no to you that I prefer that you explore your options instead of trying to explore me, bruh. You know what I'm saying? I'm not upset with the fact that you have options. I want you to have options. I preferably am completely fine with men having options in women. The problem is a lot of women are going after the same men. Like in Atlanta, that was a big problem because you have a group of 20 women fucking the same three dudes inside of that same social circle. That was the problem because they wanted the ones who had the money, who were most attractive, who was getting all of the attention. And that's bad for women. That's why I encourage women, go out there, get the lifestyle that you want, create the type of lifestyle that you want. And then the man that comes in your life is supposed to help you maintain it. He is not supposed to create that lifestyle for you. Part of being a feminine quality woman is that you created your lifestyle for yourself, and he is supposed to come into your life and enhance it, not give it to you. It's women out here thinking because they're beautiful, men have to pay them in order to go on a date. I made a video recently where I was talking about how there are women out there trying to charge men for grooming because it costs so much in order for a woman to get prepared for a date. And I'm thinking to myself, if you are not the type of woman that always got your hair done, your nails done, your toes done, and you got a shit ton of outfits in your closet, don't try to act like that's the type of chick you are suddenly because you going on a date. Like this girl, I saw a clip of this girl. She was just like, it costs X amount of dollars for me to get myself ready and prepare for this date. So I feel like a man needs to take me to an expensive ass restaurant and he needs to be spending all of this money on me if I'm going put forth all of this energy to get dressed. I'm like, you want a man to pay you to get dressed to go on a date. He's already paying for the meal. So you expect him to give you additional favor by giving you money, or he's supposed to think you doing something spectacular because you got dressed. You supposed to get dressed. And if you the right one, you fly on the regular. Like you look good, you up to par, you on top of your shit, regardless to whether you going on a date or not. So putting yourself together isn't some type of hard like process that you got to go through in order to go on a date because you look good. Period. You fly. Women who have to like create how they look and it take hours on top of hours on top of hours for them to get ready. You know, just it take an hour and a half for them to put on their face, and then it take another 30 to 45 minutes to put on their hair. Those are not the women that men need to be trying to date because the second the second she take off her makeup and her hair and her clothes, she's gonna be busted. Like if it take you 45 minutes to put on your waist trainer just so you can look right under your body con, like, come on, sis. Like, for real, if you got to do all that just to go on one date with one dude, maybe your priorities in the wrong place, and maybe you should be figuring out how to do something better with your physical appearance so you won't have to go so hard on a date to make yourself look like somebody that you're not. Like, if you put in too much energy just for a man to go on a date, that's too much. It's too much. Like, ladies, no man should be paying for you to groom yourself for a date. All right? Stop expecting men to do that. So anyway, back to I digressed for a moment. So anyway, back to the premise of the video of the live stream. So I saw a video by Dana. I love Dana, and she was in there just talking about, men dating older women. I mean, older men dating younger women. And I wanted to give my perspective on it. So I made a TikTok where I was talking about, I'm 41 years old. And the men who are inside of my age group, the reason why they're dating women who are younger is for two reasons. Number one, women in their early 20s are extremely easy to manipulate. Their cup is damn near empty. So you can put whatever inside of it. A woman who is older, her mind is more developed. She has experienced more things. Her mind is either more advanced than his, or they're on the same level mentally. Younger women are not like that. So all of the baggage and the bullshit that men carry with them once they get in their 40s, a lot of that stuff women their age are not going to deal with. Imagine how much baggage someone that's 40 has. And we're just talking about men and women. So if you're in your 20s, you should be looking at a man who is 40 years old and be utterly disgusted just off of his physical appearance alone. And if he's fine, let's say he's fine as hell. Let's say he is zaddy. Let's say he is zaddy and shit. Got the pepper, got the black salt and pepper beard or whatever. You know, a little baldy. You know, he looking good or whatever. He got money or whatever. He looked good and he has money, and those are the only things that are appealing about that man. Because if you peel back those layers, it's so much stuff going on. He could be divorced, he could have a shit ton of kids already, he could have an attitude problem, he could have bad credit, he could have all types of stuff that's wrong with him at 40 that he done carried with him in life. And here you are, a bird brain 20-year-old just got out of high school and shit, don't even know what you want to do for a living yet, ain't even hit college, and you got this 40-year-old raggedy, soggy, bald, having ass man coming after you, and you thinking, okay, he got money or whatever. You know, he fly me out. He can buy me my handbags. He take me to this restaurant and that restaurant. And you think that shit so cute in your early 20s, but that shit get old when you get younger. I mean, when you get older, like when you younger, you think a dude taking you on a date or letting him ride in his fancy ass car, letting you ride in his fancy ass car is like some amazing thing. Or that he's spending all of this money on you, so he must care about you or some shit. That is not how these men operate at all whatsoever. And so I was just basically saying, I put it on my community tab too after I did the video. I was saying that to me, when men go after women that young, is pedophilia. You know, and the reason why it's like that is because it's a age gap regardless. Like if you 20 years old and you date somebody that's 10, it's pedophilia. If you are 30 years old and you date someone that's 20, it's pedophilia. It's the same thing. It's still the same age gap, because someone in their 20s still has an underdeveloped mind, just like somebody that's 10. And men notice, right? This is why they go after the young chicks, because they know that their minds are underdeveloped and they can be easily molded and easily manipulated. And you could just tell them whatever, and they'll just go for it because they don't know no better yet. You could just say whatever. It just molds women in their early 20s to be whatever. So when I posted this video on TikTok, it was a lot of men who came inside my comment section and they was, defending it. They were saying, "Oh, you hating because you older and all of this stuff." And some other people were like, "Nah, they adults," And I'm like, just because you legally an adult, like say for instance, it's a girl that she's 21. Okay. Just because she's legally an adult doesn't mean she's mentally one. Anyone who's 40, we know, we look back at our early 20s, and of course, we think about all of the dumb shit that we did in our 20s. No one who's over 35 can truly say that they didn't do some dumb shit in their early 20s. So I'm seeing all these men come in the comment section, and I'm thinking to myself, Lord, like, ugh, so many pedo vibes. And I thought about it. Like, if men know better, how could I prove that men know what they doing is wrong? Right? So I was like, if I'm going to talk about something like this, how am I going to prove that men know exactly what they're doing when they date these younger women? And it has nothing to do with them loving these women. It's two reasons. They're easy to mold, and because they physically like the way that these women look. One man came into my comments and he said that the reason why he likes dating younger women is because the women inside of his age group are no longer attractive. And I said to him, if the women inside of your age group, if all you see is a whole bunch of ugly women who are inside of your age group, you are the problem, homie. Your perception of beauty, your perception of reality, your standard of beauty is what's the problem, because you still are attracted to teenage girls or younger children. And honestly, to me, if you are an older person, you're dating someone who is 15 years younger than you, you've always had pedo vibes. Even when you were younger, you were looking at younger kids, attracted to them. If you're a man and you are looking at women who are 15 years younger than you. This has been a problem that you've had your whole life. You had this problem when you were in high school and in middle school. And a lot of these men, I said it, I want to be able to prove that men think this way, and they know that it's wrong, right? And I thought about it. I thought about my own daughter and how my daughter is 21 this year. And I thought about my daughter and her relationship with her father. And I thought about it. And I said, what would my daughter's father do if he saw my daughter go out here in these streets and date a man that's the same age as my daughter's father? He would shit bricks. He would beat the absolute fuck out of this dude. Most men would not want their daughters who are in their early 20s date men who are over 30. They wouldn't want that. My daughter's father would be pissed if my 21-year-old daughter came home with a dude who was 30. He would not even be feeling that, and that's only 10 years. 9 years. Think about this. If you had a daughter, let's say you got kids, anybody who's listening, let's say you have kids, right? And one of your child, 14, 15, she just started like being interested in boys. If your daughter came home and said she was going on a date later, and that boy came to the door later on that night and he was 20 years old, what would that do for you? What would you do? Because I know for me, if my daughter is 15 and she comes home and tells me she's going on a date later and I meet this boy and he's 20, oh, fuck no. I'm immediately know. I'm immediately know that something ain't right. There's something wrong with that. So my thing is, there is not a significant difference in those 5 years. Like a child that's 15, right? A teenager that's 15. 15 and 21, honestly, it's not a lot of years. And you know that if you have children. If you've had teenagers, if you've had kids already, you would know that. A 15-year-old and a 21-year-old kind of have the same type of mindset a little bit. The only difference is they're probably working a job and driving. That's it. Mentally, they're still kind of like thinking of immature shit to do on a regular. So these young girls that's getting in these relationships with these men, and they're in their early 20s, they're still babies. I'm telling you, because in your 20s, you still have no clue who you are. These girls don't know who they are. They don't know who they want to be when they grow up. They ain't even hit high school yet. A lot of them still were dealing with a whole bunch of high school shit. They don't know. So when I see these 40-year-old grown ass men sitting up here dating these 20-year-old and 21-year-old children, it's pedophilic to me. I don't see how anyone could find that acceptable one bit. And I thought about it. I said, any good father would see their daughter dating a man that's significantly older than her and feel uncomfortable. That's why I think Jay-Z and Beyonce's father had an issue, because Jay-Z is significantly older than Beyonce. That's why they dated so long before they got married. Because when they met and he wanted to date her, she was way too young for that to be acceptable. So they waited until she got a little bit older and then started dating. And her father still felt some type of way about that. No good father is going to want to see their daughter dating some man who is in his 40s if she's 20 years old. And the fact that all of us know this is true proves that I'm telling you, these men have pedophilia vibes when they're over 40 and they're dating women in their early 20s. I promise you. It's a sick, twisted thing. And I put the poll on my YouTube channel, and the last time I glanced at it, it was 50 people said yes, it's pedophilic. 50 people said no. 50%, not 50 people, but 50%. On my TikTok right now, inside of my comment section, is people arguing back and forth in there. And it's a lot of women saying, yeah, it is pedophilic, but it's a lot of men in there. They have normalized this behavior so much that they think it's okay. They don't even realize that if you are over 40 and you don't find the women inside of your age group attractive, and the only time you find a woman attractive is if she's in her early 20s or she has a body of someone who is inside of their early 20s, it's pedophilic. Because when women grow, when we grow up, when we're grown ass adults, we have grown woman bodies. We don't look like children. We don't look like teenagers. Women in their early 20s still have the body structure of a teenager or a child. So if a man only finds those type of women attractive, it's not always about the European standard of beauty, but sometimes I feel like it could be when we start talking about skin color and all this shit. But when we talk about body structure and they want breasts to be a certain size and look a certain way, or her butt has to be a certain way, or, she has to be a specific type of height. She can't be taller than a certain height and shit like that. I'm telling you, these men are attracted to teenagers and children. But a lot of these men don't want to admit that because it's so perverted. And a lot of these women are so indoctrinated inside of these patriarchal ways of doing things. They have also accepted this specific type of behavior as if it's normal, and it's not. It's definitely not. Because if it was normal and it was okay, these fathers who see their daughters dating men over 40, they wouldn't feel so uncomfortable about it. Factor that in. I gotta go, y'all.